I am Leroy Truth for Leroy Truth Investigations because the truth matters.
What the Hales. And we always say that we're not unemployed, we're fun employed. And you never know what the Hales we're going to find next. You never know what the Hales we're going to do next. You never know.
You never know that you're going to be stalked when you're on YouTube. And
I am Leroy Truth. Welcome, everyone. I am Leroy Truth for Leroy Truth Investigations because the truth matters. And you know what else matters? Is what's been going on with the Hales. And many of you know who they are. I've just come to get to know them, and they are wonderful. They're warm, they're authentic, they're real, and they're being put through hell and back for, I believe, about 5 years or more. And
well, we like to say Hales and back, but a little less than 5 years, but it may go on that long.
Right, it may. I'm a psychic sometimes in my part-time, but I don't want it to go on that long. I hope I'm wrong. And so they are from the YouTube channel, What the Hales. And if you're not subscribed to them, please do so. And so would you introduce yourself to our viewers here? You know, what's your main thing? A short summary of why you're actually here. And you're the biggest story on YouTube right now. And what's the latest? What's happening? So welcome, Jeremy and George.
I'm Jeremy.
And I'm George, and Jeremy's last name is Hales, which is where the channel name came from, What the Hales. And we always say that we're not unemployed, we're fun employed, and you never know what the Hales we're going to find next. You never know what the Hales we're going to do next. You never know.
You never know that you're going to be stalked when you're on YouTube. And basically, that's what happened. We are very generous with what God has blessed us with. And therefore, grifters, con artists, scam artists stalked us to our hometown in Florida, where we reside for 6+ months out of the year. And once they didn't get that money, they started a hate campaign and a defamation campaign to the point of putting up signs all over the town stating I raped their daughter, which is horrific.
Oh my God, despicable, evil. And by the way, everyone, Jeremy and George, they are not activists until now. They, and tell me if I'm correct, you buy abandoned storage units and look for treasure, and you're treasure hunters, right?
We love treasure hunting. We do everything from rescuing wild gators and taking them to sanctuaries to we've been in the Great Pyramids of Egypt to we've been thousands of feet underground in caves. But yeah, we like treasure hunting, but all of life is a treasure hunt. And we never thought we would find ourselves in a courtroom.
Never.
And you know what?
Never, ever.
You remind me of the male and female version of Indiana Jones. And Indiana Jones, in a million years, would not be in a freaking courtroom being hemmed up because Indiana was generous to people and had some semblance of success, you know, through the graces of you know, God and your hard work. And so you go to this town, as you call it, Otter Town.
It's Otter, OTT,
like
but
the animal.
So many odd things happen here. We renamed it ourselves to Odd, ODDER.
Because it's like the Twilight Zone. Levy County and Otter Creek has been the Twilight Zone for us. And when COVID hit, I got diagnosed with breast cancer. And so I had timed it to where I would get radiation treatments after surgery and radiation treatments. And then I would quit my full-time job. I worked in healthcare to become fun employed to treasure hunt, buy storage units at auction and just live life because life is too short. I have had one bout of cancer, decided to quit. Then COVID hit. Fast forward, then I got hit with cancer again, this time thyroid cancer. Wow. And you don't realize how much your thyroid does for you until it's gone. And so my body, I was just always cold. Him and I had discussed on our first date that one of our long-term goals was to move to Florida. Well, with COVID and thyroid cancer, that pushed that dream along quicker.
It became a short-term goal really quick.
Really quick. Right. And so we wanted to find property with 50+ acres. And our first choice was Cedar Key, which is by the Gulf. And the properties that we looked at, there were no cell service. And, you know, as a content creator, it's important that you have access to data, to Wi-Fi. And so our real estate agent twisted her arm to come look at this property in Otter Creek. And it was 70 acres. And
with a cell tower. How can you beat that?
But we didn't know that there was a cell tower on the property till we arrived.
That's true.
She didn't tell us that. And so when we were looking at the property, we're both looking at our phones. We're like, "Holy cow, we have self-service."
Like, this must be it. This is the place.
And so she did say, "Let him see it in person. I bet you he'll fall in love with it."
And
sure
I did.
enough, he did.
Yeah, there's all kinds of wildlife. We have alligators. Creek runs through our property. Pond, natural virgin forest. Still, it's just beautiful. It's beautiful.
My God! And by the way, everybody, this is a tiny town. Otter Creek has a population of about 100 people.
Yeah, give or take
100 any given day. Yeah.
And so our goal,
someone was just born 101.
the goal
I just
the
heard.
reason why we wanted so much acreage was to isolate ourselves for seclusion and to kind of hide away, a place to hide away and to be away from people. Plus, in the event that the world shut down again, like it did with COVID, we had 70 acres to play on.
Wow.
No one could tell us we needed to be shut into our homes like they did when COVID-19 hit the U.S.
Which we've added. We're actually in a 10,000 square foot schoolhouse right now. We've added more acreage to the property and more buildings, but we never thought we were going to be stalked. Never in a million years, and never thought we were going to have to go and get civil protection orders against fans. But we did. We've been sexually harassed. We've had firearms brandished towards us. We've been threatened to be shot. We've had some of the most horrific things said. For example,
disgusting and vile things.
Lynette, John Crook posted that we purchased this building that we're in right now to bring her entire family, stating that they were radical Muslim terrorists from Egypt, and we were going to start a mosque here. He stated that.
Well, that was the only. We went to Egypt. We did travel to Egypt
we spent a couple
for my
months
cousin's wedding, and part of that post that he posted was that the only reason why I went to Egypt was to recruit my family and turn the schoolhouse that we bought into a radical Muslim, insinuating that my family are terrorists.
He's also posted that he has pictures of his we'll call it Little Willie in her mouth. He's stated he's going to jam stuff up both of our rectums. I mean, these people are vile, and she's posted signs all over stating some of the most horrific things, trying to not destroy reputation, destroy our lives.
There was when we were, because we snowbird and we have a home base up in Ohio, and so there was an eyewitness that saw a black Jeep that looks just like mine driving past their property and saw John shooting at the vehicle, trying to intimidate the vehicle, thinking that it was my vehicle.
And we were up north. I mean, that's how crazy these people are. They are mentally unhinged.
Now, here's a question. Are these people who are doing all these things to you, verbally and physically, are they all living in this little tiny 100 plus or minus place, or are there people coming in to support this insanity?
They're here. They bought property specifically across the street from us because they wanted money, because they've watched us give away money. They wanted promotion. Now they're getting more promotion than they ever planned on.
So they have successful people that end up coming to Otter Creek, and so they say, "Hey, you're not from around here, boy. We're gonna, we're smarter than you, so we're going to fleece you." But little did you know, you found the winter home of the Charles Manson cult.
Apparently,
that was still around.
Definitely Twilight Zone, just backwoods mentality and
bigotry, racism. It kind of keeps going on and on and on.
So they intentionally bought vacant property, vacant land that was used as a dumping ground for at least 10 plus years across the street from our 70 acres, knowing that we get traffic driving up and down the road. It's a short road. It's a quiet town, wanting publicity and promotion for her turtle rescue and donations, because for the longest time on the channel, he would always say, "I love turtles."
Now I hate turtles. I love moles.
And she would see all the gifts that our fans would send: turtle signs, turtle shirts, T-shirts, you name it, trinkets, anything you could think of that's turtle related. He would get a gift.
And the fans do send the best T-shirts ever. I gotta admit. I mean,
I love that. Citizen journalists.
Yeah, they are good.
Now have spent. Go ahead.
So she has lied, saying that she watched that property for years come to find out, it was never even listed back in 2018 when we bought it. We bought the property in 2021. It never hit the MLS until months after we announced that we moved to Otter Creek.
Wow. And so now, fast forward to, you were in the midst of a major battle. This should be a retreat. This should be a peaceful place that you can enjoy peace, quiet, serenity, prayer, and a respite from the very active lives that you both live.
Yes, absolutely.
And it should be protection. I mean, that's the biggest thing. That's one of the reasons why we hide in the woods. It's protection, because when we live our lives so publicly, privacy and protection is the premium, and it's no longer is.
And the thing is, the government is supposed to protect your, whoever. You're a human being, you live in America, they should be protecting your rights and protecting you from people who are not respecting, whether they're in government or private Charles Manson idiots or whoever they are.
That's part of the craziest part, because back home in Ohio, we go and get civil protection orders against Lynette Preston and John Crook. And we come back to Florida, and the very first day we're back, we go to the sheriff's station immediately. We go nowhere else to the sheriff's station. Within minutes, they're there. They're at our vehicle. They're stalked us to the sheriff's station. Levy County Sheriff will not enforce our civil protection orders on these two, stating that Ohio has no jurisdiction, even though Florida state statute states they must enforce every injunction, every civil protection order, every restraining order from every single state, and federal law mandates that they have to enforce it as well. But they say, nope.
Yeah. So not only did they stalk us physically, they also stalked us cyberly. They did cyber stalking, which was one of the main reasons why Ohio issued the civil stalking protection order against Lynette and John. But for whatever reason, Florida isn't taking it serious, even though it says you have to enforce it in all 50 states and territories. And it's been they have violated the protection order a handful of times, maybe close to
multiple handfuls of times. The last one, they stayed for an hour and a half at a town hall meeting where they are not, most people go, well, town hall meeting, it's public, right? No, it doesn't matter. They're not allowed to be on any private, any public road that we're on. They're not allowed to be in any private, any public building that we're in. Right. So she's at the town hall meeting. I'm not there because Florida put a temporary injunction on me, not based on what I've done, based on what she lied and said my lawyer did. So I can't be within 500 feet of her, but she can't be within 500 feet of me or her. And they stay for an hour and a half, flicking their fingers off at Ohio on the civil protection orders. And Levy County Sheriff did absolutely nothing.
By the time,
so who do you go to? Who can help? In other words, your local government, and it's God bless, it's a small place. I love small little towns when they're not freaking psychotic. But so who do you go to protect you and George and how your right to live as you want to live, free of harassment and assault and intimidation?
I'm an 80s kid. I'm going to call the Ghostbusters eventually. But in reality, exactly. The Ghostbusters.
Of course.
Who do you trust? That's the question. Who do you trust?
And now we're in a situation where the own court's victim's advocate, who's been appointed to me because we threatened to sue the state and sue the county and the Levy County Sheriff. Now they're saying, okay, well, now we're going to press charges. And because they're pressing charges against Lynette, and I'm the victim. And now they're sending me paperwork and saying Amanda Martin is the victim's advocate for the court. Well, Amanda Martin told my lawyer, how could you represent that effing a-hole? And then 2 Sundays ago, Amanda Martin sees me going into Walmart in this tiny town. And then Amanda Martin's son follows us to a restaurant. Do you have his picture?
Yeah.
So Amanda Martin's son, Stephen Rhett Cunningham.
I was just going to ask you, what's his name? Say his name again. Stephen what?
Stephen Rhett Cunningham follows us into the restaurant that we were eating, and then he assaults me and batters me. And this is Stephen Rhett Cunningham.
Look at him.
Son.
God bless him, but he should be in an institution of some type.
The son of the victim's advocate of Levy County Courthouse.
Attacks you.
Me.
Right. And I understand spilled hot coffee on you or something? Threw hot coffee?
So first he hits me in my back, calls me the biggest.
We were sitting down with friends having dinner at one of our local favorite restaurants. And he comes up behind, his back was even turned, didn't even see him coming. Hits him. You see in the footage from within the restaurant, he jumps up because he hit him so hard and startled him.
And he says, "Oh, it's the biggest," and we'll say kitty cat in Levy County. And at first I'm like, what's going on? Is this a joke?
But I knew immediately that this was not.
And then all of a sudden, it's not a joke. It's not a joke. And to de-escalate, I was like, "Oh, you must want an autograph. Why don't you come outside?" I didn't want anything to happen inside the restaurant.
We're friends with the owners of the restaurant.
So we go outside, and he just runs his mouth, and eventually, what he ends up doing, he throws his full cup.
He takes the lid off first.
The sweet tea, throws it all over me.
Waits. He doesn't do it right away. As soon as he takes the lid off, he waits at least a minute, and then he throws his drink at him.
My God! And did he have that? And were you wearing, Jeremy? Were you wearing that same sweatshirt that when I interviewed you 2 weeks ago?
Same hoodie. I'm almost always wearing that hoodie. I love that hoodie, and it's now stained forever with sweet tea.
I actually have a picture that shows the stain on.
Well, if you got a picture, show the picture.
Yeah, show it. And I mean, this angers me so profoundly because this is supposed to be America. Again, we have the Constitution not to protect the government from us, but to make sure the government is protecting us. And the more I've worked on this, Jeremy, and I've done investigative journalism and activism for over 30 years, and I've only been doing it for a little over a year on YouTube now and featuring the stories and having this national platform, the corruption is so insane and it's everywhere. And let's see this picture here.
So you'll see all where it's dark there on the hoodie.
Oh yeah. Yep.
So that's
so from that entire shaded area is all wet.
This is me talking with the police right now, and all down. I mean, you probably don't want to focus on there too long, but it's all soaked, and I did not wet myself.
Yeah. No, you don't seem like that type of guy whatsoever. And the thing is, again, the government's supposed to protect you. Just like I'm investigating who may be the most corrupt mayor in America, Mayor Brian P. Stack, who's also Senator Brian P. Stack, double dipping, and the head of the Judiciary Committee, who picks the judges, prosecutors, justices, and helps appoint the state attorney general. And he has been doing everything possible to end my investigation of his alleged corruption, including he went crazy last week, as we were talking before we started the show today, that after he saw that I had rented a giant billboard truck, asking for tips as I'm investigating him and showing an attack that someone attacked me, his right-hand man attacked me in front of him, and the prosecutor who he appointed won't press charges, and I'm not letting that go. He then immediately went to a voodoo doctor. And I know personally about that he went to this voodoo doctor as a last-ditch effort to try to stop Leroy Truth investigations. So we're dealing with a whole bunch of psychotics.
Want to go to a mental doctor. He might start there.
He went to the wrong doctor.
Yeah.
Right. They all got to go to mental doctors. They're sociopaths, psychopaths, narcissists. The list goes on and on. And let's go back now to, you have a judge who is crux to this drama that you shouldn't be having to deal with. And you spent over $80,000 so far on legal fees, and you've done nothing wrong except move there.
5 hearings so far, and majority of the hearings have been continued because of her lack of
preparation. She dodged depositions 3 times. She finally got a lawyer, and basically, in a nutshell, so she goes in after I get civil protection orders in Ohio. She runs into Florida and goes, "I need an injunction." And the judge says,
retaliation,
the
she
judge
goes and tries to get one.
Nope, no evidence. Nope, no evidence. Multiple times. Finally, he gives her a hearing. We figure he gives her a hearing to say, "Stop coming into my courtroom." Well, that's not the case. He actually wants to do something about this YouTuber that's talking, and so it's protected speech. So immediately he has a leaning, as he's acting not as a judge but as her lawyer,
and she was
guiding her,
she was
directing her.
This is
telling her what to say, what to do.
Yeah.
I mean, insanity. In absolute.
I had a judge like that when I needed a judge. It's
yeah.
actually,
Wouldn't that be nice? Wouldn't that be nice if we all had judges?
A dual lawyer judge, and I'm guessing where that outcome would be, and with that.
So he gets extremely upset in the first hearing at my first lawyer, and then after that he runs out of time in the courthouse. And my lawyer's saying, "Hey, can we get the witnesses on the stand so they don't have to come back?" He's like, "No!" And he's screaming and yelling. You can watch all of the hearings in our Otter Creek playlist on What the Hales.
Oh, pause for a minute. Tell people how can they watch. I mean, this has been a soap opera.
Yeah. And there's hundreds of years now. So if you find our playlist on What the Hales, and playlist is Otter Creek, all the hearings are in there, and everything that we have endured in Otter Creek since we moved here.
For 4 years, right? 4 years.
Yeah, we came down November to look at the property 2020, and then December 2020 finalized the next month on the property 2021. So yeah, we're at 4 years now.
All right, so everyone, I want you to stop watching Netflix, stop watching Amazon Prime, and go right now to Otter Creek, their playlist at What the Hales.
Tiger King was good. Oh my good.
This will be Otter King, even though there's no otter.
Turtle Wit.
I'm going to call it the Otter King. Tiger King was huge hit. Otter King is an ongoing saga with two good people. They based their work on love and altruism and fun. And what do you call that? Fun employment. Fun employment. I'm going to use that too.
Fun employment.
Yeah, fun employment. And they don't deserve this. But I know the judge basically is trying to gag you because you have no defenses to the government. So you do utilize a tool that you have a First Amendment right to use.
We use a cell phone camera everywhere we go. This is the tool that we use for accountability. After that first hearing, she then files supplemental information and states that my attorney tried to bribe her to make this hearing go away, which is a complete and total lie. Based on that, Judge Craig DeThomasis slaps a temporary injunction on me. In that injunction, he takes away my freedom of speech, my right, my First Amendment right. He says I can't say her name. He says I can't use her image. I can't film her anywhere, which we all have rights to film people publicly. And then he says if anybody associated with me says her name, has a picture, tries to film her, I go to jail. And then he takes away my right to bear arms. Now I can't protect myself or those who I love or those around me. I can't even have security around me, which we've hired in the past, personal security with firearms. I'm not allowed to have that, any ammunition. He takes away my right to all of my 70 acres. They have 1.66, literally 12 feet across the street from me, radius of 500 feet from their property. Now I can't even get all my God-given right to my property that he illegally took from me. And then he takes my access to the property, which is down the public road, which is illegal as well. And if we go even further in these hearings, he takes away my right to due process. They're supposed to be deposed. They're supposed to have their depositions. They dodge them. And then he waves it and says no more depositions for them. Right of due process taken away. I can't even count how many amendments this man has taken away from me thus far. It is one of the most bizarre and insane and corrupt things I've ever witnessed in my life. And I never thought being a YouTuber would bring this into my life.
No. But thank God you do have this platform because people are incredibly empathetic of your story, and many channels are covering you. And the DU guy, my executive producer used to work with him, and many other channels. I mean, they're talking to everybody, which they should. They're utilizing the only platform they have since the legal system has profoundly and utterly failed them, and that is so disgusting and despicable and wrong. And that's part of my mission, Jeremy and George, to change that paradigm through mission-based activism that I'm doing on my channel. And I want to help support people like you. And when I say people like you, Americans who just want to live their freaking lives.
Yeah. I mean, this literally, it leaves you going, who can I trust? When the ones you're supposed to trust completely and totally let you down through a spiral of corruption, then who really can you trust? I mean, that's where we're at right now in our lives. And we just had another hearing We had our 5th hearing February 28th.
Which was
good. And because I wanted everyone to know like the latest. Then I have a question for you as well, George, after that. So how did that hearing go, February 28th?
So February 28th, before the hearing, we filed our 3rd motion to disqualify Judge Craig DeThomas based on his bias, which the 3rd time he actually said no. He denied it again, which we immediately filed. We filed to have the entire hearing stay. In other words, what would happen is it would go up to the appellate courts and they would review Judge Craig DeThomas and find out if he is biased and remove him, or find out he's unbiased and keep him. And so we went into that hearing with multiple motions, 8, 9 motions
that
he's been ignoring for weeks, if not a month. Literally ignoring, because the final hearing was supposed to be 2 days after this motion hearing. And so we file for the stay. He denies the stay, but he grants a continuance if we file a writ of
it's called writ of oh my gosh.
Why did I just forget it right now?
It's gonna come to you.
We're having
it will come to me. It will come to me.
Writ of
prohibition.
Yes.
So we file. He says if you can get a writ of prohibition into the appellate courts by Friday at 6 a.m. Now you have to understand it's Wednesday afternoon. We're in his courtroom. He goes, I will not grant this stay, and I will not grant a continuance unless you get a writ of prohibition into the appellate courts by 6 a.m. on Friday. Otherwise, we're going to be in this courtroom at 9 a.m. on Friday for the final hearing.
Which was yesterday.
So my legal team pulls 2 all-nighters and they get it filed by 5:55, and the appellate courts accept it by 6 o'clock and some odd seconds, like 14 seconds, something like that. So as of right now, everything is legally not stayed, as the legal term, but it's frozen until the higher courts can actually evaluate this judge and say, yeah, you're a jerk and you're out of here, or no, Jeremy's a jerk and you're staying here. I can't see how anybody could watch this man and not see his bias just oozing out.
We do have a lot of judges watching this case, former judges. We have a lot of attorneys watching this case, former attorneys, retired attorneys, and they have all said we have never seen anything like this.
It's just out of control, out of control. So right now, what he has done, the word temporary means small amount of time. And legally, for a temporary injunction in Florida, that's 15 days or to the next hearing. So this is my 4th extension to a temporary injunction, not based on anything I've done. She's saying that all my fans are threatening her. All my fans are going to kill her. All my fans, because of my videos. None of my videos are illegal. As a matter of fact, in all of my videos, I constantly say, never contact anybody, never do anything, and only contact the appropriate authorities if you see something wrong. And from the very beginning.
She has yet to provide any sufficient
evidence. No evidence at all of anything, but she claims my lawyer tried to bribe her. Judge Craig DeThomas slaps a temporary on me. I have a 4th extension now, indefinite, because as this is under review, this could be 6 months, 9 months, it could be a year. I have an indefinite temporary injunction on me, which means I still can't protect myself, which is extremely important to me. I get death threats every single day. And now I can't carry my firearm. It's complete and total insanity.
So you are now not allowed. You have a God-given right. The Second Amendment doesn't grant us the Second Amendment right. And I'm a major Second Amendment guy. I grew up on 55 acres of forest. My father got me my first gun at 6. And every year for Christmas, he could buy me a bigger gun and taught me how to use it responsibly. So I defend my family if need be. And it's a God-given right, not a government-given right. They've taken that from you. And I mean, literally, it seems like this is an insane asylum. And that you've been going through this for all this time. And George, how have you felt like through this? Like, what are some of the emotional roller coaster of this?
It truly has been an emotional roller coaster. It's heightened my anxiety. It's heightened my stress levels, and it's caused tension between us. It's heightened his blood pressure, and it's caused health issues, not only physically, but mentally for the both of us. And, you know, when we leave, when I'm at the schoolhouse, I feel safe. When we're at the ranch, I feel safe. But people do crazy things. You don't know what they're going to do. And so there's times where I don't feel safe. I don't feel comfortable going anywhere alone. I either need to be with him or someone else because I can't carry either being around him. And so I rely on my cell phone to record if I need to protect myself, to hold these
Right. So
people.
this is the only weapon that you're allowed to have right now.
That's the weapon.
Yes.
That's the weapon. And you know what's wild? We have a drug addict who has actually abandoned their vehicle on our property right now, and I can't do anything about it. I can't even get to it. I can't go do anything because this judge has taken away my legal rights to do anything.
That is as criminal as you can get. And I want to pause for a minute on this. And ladies and gentlemen, prayer is real. And it doesn't matter what religion, what faith that you follow. But I ask you to pray for strength and protection for both Jeremy and George and a swift and positive outcome to this. And that in the end, there will be a silver lining on this. And it doesn't matter what religion you follow, prayer is real. And I will send them regularly. And another thing that angers me so much is because you are both so altruistic, this is costing you money that could have gone to other missions that you're part of. And it has taken so much time and mental bandwidth, profound amount, that has deprived thousands of people or tens of thousands of people of the good work that both of you do. Mm-hmm. And this is so wrong at every level.
It really is. And we appreciate the prayers because prayer is truly needed.
But court's not over, even though it's an indefinite with a no date in the near future, and it could be up to a year. Court's not over because we already have filed a case of defamation against her within the system as well. So while that temporary injunction still hangs over me, that's her bringing an injunction on me. Now we're going after her for defamation. We're going for perjury, and we're going for the list. The laundry list is long. So even during this break of this injunction, we're going after her for everything else she's done. You know what the problem is, though? Guess who the only judge in Levy County is to hear these things?
Who?
Craig DeThomas's.
Got one. So, no,
we
don't change the judge. There's one. He's got a monopoly on psychosis and adjudicating anti-law, basically. And now it's in the appellate, right? It's in the appellate waiting.
So the injunction is in the appellate, yes. But now we're coming at her civilly for defamation. There'll be perjury charges. There'll be a laundry list of things.
Right. And
it doesn't end. It's not even on pause, even though it's up for review. Court depositions, nothing is truly on pause because there's so much more coming down the pipeline. But this time, it's all coming from us, initiated by us, based on what she's done to us. The problem is Judge Craig DeThomas's is the one who's going to preside over these issues.
Right. Obviously, he is already as biased, and he's made up his mind. They're good, you're bad, and he's going to do everything he can to hem you up from his bench. And he needs to be in the lowest dungeon, in the lowest place of this earth for what he has been doing, because he has completely broken the public trust and abused his so-called authority so profoundly. And it's funny. I keep getting phone calls. We're not actually live. I'm getting phone calls as if we're live. This is wild. Anyway.
Who else has he done this to? I mean, the thing that makes me so sick, it makes me sick that it's being done to us, right? But God has blessed us to a point to where we can fight it. And it may be a fight that we end up losing in the long run. We don't know. But the average person in this county, they can't fight against this judge. They're the money that the system milks, the money that the system just grabs and takes from you. How is the average person supposed to fight for themselves?
Right. And where are the checks and balances? That's the thing that, again, keeps blowing my mind, but I see it again and again in whether it's a small town, a little tiny village, big city, there are no checks and balances. And we've got to, again, collectively do something about that, because one of my mantras and one of my missions is, as Martin Luther King has said, that the problem is not that we are outnumbered. The problem is that we are out-organized. And it's one of my missions to bring together as many people in the YouTube community, including I'm in the process of getting in contact with DUI lawyer, Lackluster, got a huge channel, over 1 million subscribers. And Ron Durbin, I mentioned, I had him on my show a few weeks ago. And we want to come together to be mission-oriented. And because you have a hearing eventually, if you can keep me up to date on that, I want to bring a group of other YouTube activists together to support both of you and share from a first-person experience with all of our subscribers and followers and viewers and support.
Maybe,
so that they know you're not just two people fighting. America is behind you. And also, what can we do? What can I do personally? What can I do as a channel? What can I do as I'm organizing other channels to help support you, to expedite this, to give you more leverage?
I think expediting the appellate hearing would be great.
Which we have no power over. But what you do have power over is people can contact Florida legislators, because they're the ones that have power over whether this judge stays in this bench or not. And frankly, from what I've seen, this man should never sit on the bench. Okay. You also have the power to contact the governor of Florida. That is in your power and your wheelhouse to do. You can also go to the Judicial Qualifications Committee online, Florida Judicial Qualifications Committee, and you can file a complaint there as well. And that's what that whole committee exists for, is to investigate rogue judges that have black robe syndrome, that think they're God, right? And so those are three individual legislators, governor, and the JQC that you could actually, people can contact them and try and get something moving in motion.
All right, so here's what I'm going to promise to both of you. I have started what I call the armyofreedom.com. And what it is, instead of people just watching our videos, which is important because we expose the malfeasance, we expose the criminality of people who are supposed to be holding the public trust instead of breaking it. And so my mission in this is to bring us together, thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, and millions in the Army of Freedom. And what we do is we send a single email out per week with a focal point. Here's who we suggest you call. Here's their phone numbers. Here is the email addresses and social media platforms. And we always underline peacefully, non-violently. We condemn all that, and professionally, but clearly, so that and I'm just about to launch it. I have probably a couple of thousand people in it so far, and I would love to grow that. So as you're watching this, everyone, simply go to the armyofreedom.com. Take 6 seconds to join. It's free. We will never sell, ever sell your email addresses. We'll never spam you. But this goes with the mantra that the problem is not that we are outnumbered. The problem is that we have been out organized. And this is one step. And I'm asking the other channels to also ask their subscribers to come onto this. And our first mission is you. So we're going to have them, contact these, specific people who you feel would be most important to contact, to create some type of urgency, so this moves it, quicker on your behalf. And they know that it's not just a few people. It's, hundreds, it's thousands,
it's an army of
thousands. It's an army of freedom, and a peaceful army, always. So, so everyone, please join the armyofreedom.com. And our first mission is to help the Hales, to know that they're not alone. We have people all over the country, all over the world who are part of this. And we're going to grow this every single week until we become the biggest political action committee in the nation. And so these things won't be able to happen to future people, because George and Jeremy were willing to utilize their platform to get the message out, because this malfeasance and corruption happens in the shadows. And exposing it with this, the magic of this, the power of this. We don't shoot bullets. We shoot frames per second, 30 frames per second. And it's more powerful than any gun in the big picture.
Yeah, agreed.
And as the Army of Freedom comes together, I want people to understand that this fight This fight is no longer about fighting against an injunction that is unwarranted. This fight is about freedom. And maybe God has placed us in this position to fight for everybody's freedom, freedom of speech, freedom to bear arms, freedom to access your property. I mean, if this judge had his way, he would shut down YouTube. He would shut down Facebook. He would shut down Instagram. He would shut down X or Twitter. He would shut it all down. He wants to suppress your freedom of speech and mine. He's doing it through me right now. But the reality is, if he gets me, he gets everybody. And so we're fighting for everybody's freedom right now, together, united, and hopefully, as you already stated, organized.
Exactly. And you know what? You literally have been the tipping point, your story. And I believe God put you in this for a reason, even though it has been hell and back. It's kind of like Job. But as you so aptly stated and clearly stated, is that this is about all of our freedoms, because if you win, we win. And so every American, every person in the United States and really through the world has a vested interest to make sure we could do everything possible to support you. So there is a positive outcome for you, Jeremy, and you, George, because it's not a fight just for you and your life. It's a fight for all of us. And I will do everything in my power to help support you in that.
We appreciate that.
We appreciate it very much.
Well, thank you. Go ahead.
People not to contact the judge or his staff or anyone in Levy County
or Lynette or Crook
or anyone else involved.
Only
in the story.
The appropriate organizations.
Correct.
I want to underline that. Absolutely. Do not contact any of those people. Do not do that. And I'm not saying do not to say, okay, do. No, I'm saying do not. Because it will change nothing, and it will only hurt Jeremy and George. It will do nothing. We have to contact the appropriate organizations, which will be in the first email, which we're going to put out next week on the Army of Freedom. So you know exactly who to contact, and some bullet point suggestions on some ideas. But again, you say whatever you feel in your heart, but always keep it peaceful, nonviolent, and this is your opportunity to redress the government. So any last words, Jeremy and George, before we go?
Just want to thank you for taking the time for helping us spread the story and expose the corruption, and hopefully something will be done.
Ditto.
Absolutely. And if you're not subscribed to What the Hales on YouTube, please do so now.
What the hales are you waiting for?
Right, what the hales are you waiting for? Otter Creek. I'm pointing like it's behind me on your screen. Otter Creek, go to the playlist. It is more crazy than the Tiger King times 10 on steroids. And you can cancel your Netflix, save some money, cancel Netflix, cancel Amazon Prime, watch this for free.
It's free.
Right, free. But subscribe to their channel. And so thank you both. I really appreciate you, Jeremy and George. You're awesome, and I'm going to continue supporting you, and we'll stay connected, and we'll see when the next hearing is about bringing some people down, so we en masse can show that you are not alone, that you have support throughout the country.
Well, thank
you both again.
Thank you.